Hi! Welcome back to our little show called and today's topic is Resident Evil 4. Now, my earliest memory of Resident Evil 4, or actually Resident Evil in general, was from a Christmas reunion my family had when I was very young, and everything scared, including this game. I had the instinct of closing my eyes and covering my ears, and I just kept asking people to tell me if the scary parts are over or something. And when we played Resident Evil 4, I practically did the same thing. I covered my eyes and just waited for them to finish the game. They did, but they put on Fatal Frame afterwards, and that's a whole different story. Anyway, now that I'm older and practically fear nothing, I feel stupid because this game is obnoxiously fun. I barely felt any tension even though I did get some jump scares, but that's only because I'm a naturally jumpy person. This game made me laugh and enjoy a lot of good moments from it. As an old game with a unique-ish kind of mechanic where aiming a gun and movement is the most difficult part of the game, which kind of is annoying compared to the previous titles, but I'm only complaining since I wasn't really used to it yet. And of course, being a true gamer, I surpassed that after a few minutes. The game actually gives you a nice taste of nostalgia. I mean, it is a game from 2005, but it holds up pretty well, I can say. There's obviously a lot of things that can be improved, especially with the dialogue and the story, though I feel like it is self-aware and is intentionally campy. Almost every cutscene has these extremely cheesy and dumb dialogue, and I fucking love it. I seriously do. It's so dumb, it's just a laugh. Especially with Leon suddenly having a sassy mouth, which is a very welcome thing, mind you. Every time he interacts with the villains, he's just throwing quips left and right, which is really funny, but in a what the fuck Leon kind of way.
Ashley.
Leon!
Mr. Kennedy, don't you know when it's time to throw in the towel?
No! Leon!
Where's the satisfying sound of one's impalement?
Won't fall for this old trick.
How dare you! No more games! Kill him! Kill! Quickly! We shall prepare for the ritual!
Leon, you're alive.
So maybe you have 9 lives, but it doesn't matter now, Mr. Kennedy. I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
Say whatever you please. Die, you worm!
The game mechanics, despite being clunky, are still okay. Like I said, it gets confusing if you're not used to it yet. You can execute the enemies by stunning them with bullets and then using the action button to interact with them after, well, they get stunned. It's a mechanic that incentivizes you to save bullets and such, even though you're still given a buttload of ammo when you fight enemies, or when the enemies drop them. Which kinda tells me that this game feels like an arcade shooter mixed with Capcom's version of a Metal Gear Solid game. Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe this game. It's Capcom's version of Metal Gear Solid, but an arcade version, or a parody of sorts. I'll let you get the comparison down by yourself. Anyway, I think I can summarize the story as simple as I can. There's a lot to it, so yeah, spoilers ahead. So the story is basically Leon going to this remote island to save the president's daughter. Along the way, he discovers that the island is actually infected with zombies, and the zombies are being controlled by this guy, Osmond Sadler, who manages to make a cult out of the entire island and recruits them for his army and his plans of world domination. So, as one Resident Evil protagonist does, Leon mows down every single infected villager with his new advanced training and incredibly iron legs. Seriously, there was so much emphasis on how strong he can kick now. Anyway, Leon also manages to get infected after getting captured, where he also meets a guy named Lewis, who is an undercover cop who helps him around the island. He also gives Leon supplements to help slow down the virus and also gives him information as to how he can cure himself and Ashley. But sadly, he does get backstabbed like really hard and gets cut off in the story really early. Rest in peace, Lewis. You were very cool. Leon actually meets Ashley, President's daughter, early on in the game during the first act. She gets to tag along with Leon through the entire journey of murdering every single person in the residence that is evil. They go through the village again and encounter Mr. Baldy One-Eyed Centipede Man. They go through the castle with the most annoyingly funny and snappy child zombie creature thing that has a Victorian-era Spanish royal costume. It turns into a plant creature thing, similar to Resident Evil 1. They go through the island with a militia of zombies that know how to use weapons and look like they're from Mad Max. You also get to fight your old buddy Krauser, who is basically Vulcan from Metal Gear Solid 3, but instead of lightning he has sick bioweapon arm like in Prototype. You remember those games? Oh, and how can I forget our Lord and Savior, the Merchant, who helps us out the entire time by supplying us with a plethora of munitions he carries around somehow in his coat. I mean, this guy just literally pops up everywhere convenient, so I believe he is God. We also meet Ada Wong once again, whom apparently is a double agent by now since she's been helping Krauser, but also helping Leon, but also helping Wesker, who's also helping Sadler, who hired both Krauser and Ada to kill Leon. Make sense? Yeah. Ada's job was just to secure the virus samples from Sadler and bring it to Wesker, but her undying love for Leon has managed to give her a change of heart, as she helps Leon during the climactic battle with Sadler by giving Leon an RPG to finally defeat the final boss. But apparently she only did that to finally secure the virus from Leon. After such a heartbreaking event, Leon and Ashley escape via jet ski through the exploding island in the most American way possible. Thus concludes the game of Resident Evil 4. So yeah, that's basically just Resident Evil in general, I guess. It's wacky, the story doesn't matter. This game is fun. It's like watching a cartoon made by a Japanese person who's only watched American cartoons. But the change in gameplay actually did save the game, so yeah. I think it was a surprising change for the genre, leaning more on the action side of things rather than the survival horror aspect that it was known for. And honestly, I don't have any critical thing to say about this game. It's just really fun. Playing it for the first time at the age of fast-paced action and adrenaline-fueled horror games, Resident Evil 4 was surprisingly refreshing, and I don't know why. So I'll just talk about stuff that I like, I guess. For starters, I love the action so much. This game has a variety of ways you can fight enemies. You shoot a guy in the head or in the legs to stun them, then kick them in the face or suplex them to infinity and beyond, like I said earlier. You can spray the ever-loving shit out of your shotgun or the TMP at everything. You can be tactical by chipping away enemy numbers from afar with your sniper rifle. Or you can gather all the enemies at one spot and then just use grenades. Variety in combat, always a good selling point in action games. And then obviously Resident Evil 4 nails that part. Otherwise I think it wouldn't have the same impact the way it did back then as to the way it does right now. We also have a variety of enemies ranging from knowing how to throw axes and dynamite to shooting crossbows, RPGs, and a freaking minigun. Some enemies have shields and helmets that prevent you from getting headshots in. Some of them also transform into these weird mutated versions of themselves that can instantly kill you. Yeah, that's a thing. Most of the enemies can actually insta-kill you. The chainsaw guy, the blind Wolverine thing that looks like a gimp, and obviously the mutated ones as well, if they get close enough. Which they actually can, since the AI knows how to swarm you. And then, you know, you can outmaneuver them since they're slow, but they still end up swarming you because they run when you run away, which is kind of confusing when I say it like that, but you get what I mean when you play this game. You also have these bug creatures that can fly and are sometimes invisible. Okay, those invisible ones are actually pretty damn scary. The fact that you can't see them and then you can hear them running towards you definitely got me on my toes. The boss fights are interesting as well. Even though you're basically just shooting them non-stop to beat them, at least they tried with the variety of level you fight them at. You have these ogres that take a lot of bullets, but can be outmaneuvered and can be killed by just knifing them. You have this hell in the cell kind of thing that you have to figure out the maze that you're in, and then you have to get out of there while also being chased by this creature. And especially Krauser, I think his fight was the most memorable one, since it was just you trying to survive as he attacks you while you're trying to collect key items from the stage you're fighting at. You also have like the cinematic quick time fight sequence beforehand that just adds more to their interaction. Then by the end, you just have to learn how to beat him while he's blocking all your attacks. I actually run out of ammo with this fight and had to resort to knifing him just to kill him. And the fact that Leon actually knew him, it's just fun seeing them banter back and forth like an anime episode or something. So yeah, I think that's a good reason why this game works. You have different ways of fighting different enemy types, and every encounter is definitely the same, but you have the option to try out different things. And I think that's also what made games like The Last of Us work. The game doesn't tell you how to do things, rather you have to find out stuff by yourself. Plus, you have the really dumb, cheesy story and dialogue to top it all off. And of course, being a Resident Evil game, you get to replay everything, but with the added bonus of getting more powerful weapons. I haven't played it enough to unlock the infinite RPG ammo, but I'm pretty sure it will make the game a whole lot more fun. So yeah, I really don't have that many things to say about this game. I just love it. It's definitely a classic game. And if they ever do decide to remaster it, I really hope they don't. The graphics can stay the same. It's surprisingly fresh for a game that's been out for around years now. The gameplay does not deserve to be changed at all, since it's kind of still unique. And yeah, it really doesn't need a remaster. So please don't remaster this game. Stop remastering games in general. Okay, that's pretty much it. Definitely all I have to say about Resident Evil 4. You should definitely try it out, even though I might be the only person who hasn't played this game yet. It's fun. It's definitely worth your time. It's a nice callback to some of the better days of video games. So yeah, we're going for Resident Evil 5 next, which I know is gonna be jankier based on some opinions from my friends. So definitely watch out for that. In the meantime, I'll see you next time. Stay safe. Have a great day. Bye bye.